Welcome to the Cool Instruments for Hep Cats podcast and the world of creating musical sounds, where every note has a story. In this podcast, we delve into the fascinating realm of unusual and intriguing musical instruments. From the depths of history to the cutting edge of innovation, we'll explore the instruments that have, or will, push the boundaries of what we consider music. Join us on a journey of discovery as we uncover the secrets of the world's most fascinating instruments, the people who play them, and the music they create. Now here is your host, Dr. Donald Rickert.
So, you want to say anything more about the difference between what most people know as a full-size cello and the Violoncello da Spalla in terms of sound? Of course, it's way played in a way different way. We don't need to talk about that. But
I can best summarize it. When the Rossini duo, when I prepared that for a concert with the bass player, one of the comments he made is that he had to play in a very different way. He had to play in a much more with a lot less sound. I mean, a modern bass, can overpower this instrument if you don't have, if a player isn't aware of the, I don't really want to say limitations, but just the different kind of sonority of it. I mean, a modern cello can really, is just designed for projection in a large room and can probably overpower a modern bass. For sure. So there's really no problem, but it is possible to work together, and I thought our performance was very successful, but he did. Victor Holmes was the bass player that I worked with. He said that he had to play in a very different way to get the same, just to match the sound of it. Different vibrato, different bow weight. So it is. It is different, and what I notice is it's the other difference that I have, because I play violin and viola, I hear a lot of the sound coming like right into my ear because of the instruments here. Mm-hmm. So on Violoncello da Spalla, the sound actually goes away. So I think in that way it's similar to like a modern cello, even though it produces less sound. Yeah. So I do have to be aware of that, because sometimes I'm probably projecting more than I think, and I have to be aware of that and not try to, overplay. Yeah. Because you really can't overplay this. It's if you press too hard, it really will just. It doesn't like it. It's not like a modern instrument where it can really take a lot of weight. Part of it is these Baroque bows. The more when you put weight in the bow, it actually loosens the hair, right? Put weight in the string on the string, and the middle goes up, and the ends go down, and the hair actually loosens. So you really can't push at all. Whereas on the modern bow, when you push it, the middle goes down and the ends go up, and so the hair actually tightens. Right. So you can put. They're designed for applying quite a lot of weight. These will, the Baroque bow will loosen and sort of kind of hug the string in a nice way. So you really have to pull the sound out, and I find if I'm preparing for a performance, recording myself and then just trusting that the sound is coming out and not overplaying is really important.
Yeah, that good stuff. I mean, you want to tell me about your bow odyssey? I know you've gone through a number of bows since you started, haven't you?
Right.
At least more than one.
Well, even before I had my Violoncello da Spalla, I purchased a Baroque viola bow from Char. Char makes, pretty inexpensive Baroque viola bows. I was at the ASTA convention several years ago in Albuquerque, and I had my viola with me, and I tried one of their Baroque viola bows, and I liked it. I thought it was like much more playable than I thought, and
yeah.
I think at the time they charged like $100.
Yeah, they're not much.
Yeah, not much at all. So I was like, what do I have to lose? This is pretty interesting, and so I got it and experimented with it, and it was just something that I had, and I played Baroque music on my viola. I would sometimes use it to inform my playing in a certain way, and then when I got the Spalla, I just used that Baroque viola bow, but there was something about it that was just not right. Like I felt like if I was practicing for long periods of time, my hand would cramp up a little bit. I think there was something about it that was just a little bit unwieldy. Especially holding it in this position, like vertically. It's not sitting on the string the way it would.
Now you're not talking. Are you talking about a Baroque bow in general, or the cheaper?
The cheaper bow. Yeah. So I'm not sure if it was just because it was an inexpensive bow, or if it was like the wrong kind of bow. So I decided, well, maybe I should get like a better Baroque bow, and I tried a Baroque cello bow. But it didn't really. It was nice. It had a nice sound, but it just wasn't something that I could see myself playing. It didn't.
Right.
It didn't like sort of hug the string the way I really wanted it to, and so I called. I actually gave Fred Oster a call. He has a really nice violin shop in Philadelphia where I purchased a violin a couple of years ago. And he referred me to Harry Grabenstein, who's really a specialist in Baroque Renaissance bows. And I called Harry, and he immediately knew what I was talking about. Like, I didn't have to explain. I was like, I have a Violoncello da Spalla, and I'm looking for a bow. And he had actually made one before. He didn't have one in the shop, but he had made them before, and he knew exactly what he knew exactly what I was talking about, and I was surprised. So the way his arrangement works is most of his bows are custom orders because he's making bows for unusual historic instruments.
Right.
So his arrangement is that he makes he'll make like 3 bows for you and send them to you. Like you sort of agree that you're gonna make a purchase, and so you send a deposit. He made me 3 bows, and then I chose one of them. And then if I didn't like any of them, then I could talk to him about it, and he would make another one. So he was willing to make several bows if I was pretty much like 80% sure that I was gonna purchase from him. But of course, if I was unhappy with any of them, he wouldn't have like forced me to make a purchase. But I thought that was a pretty cool arrangement. So he made me 3 bows that were quite different, actually. There was this style. I'm gonna come back, and then there was one that was a little bit more of I think he called it like a hill style, where it had when it was loose, it had a reverse camber.
Yes.
This one, I forget. So this one actually has the same, really essentially the same shape when it's tight or when it's loose. And then there was another one that was quite different. And so this is the one I chose. He made this one out of ipe wood. It's a very beautiful piece of wood. And so I chose this one. It just had a really nice. It hugged the string really well. It does chords really nicely, string crossings really well, and it's just the right weight. Like it doesn't feel like it's too heavy, too light, and I could play it for practice for long periods of time. My hand feels comfortable.
Cool.
And it has it has this more open frog. So it doesn't. it won't fit into a viola case. That's for sure. So,
yeah, that's a pretty open frog.
Yeah, it's definitely more open than like a viola bow, but probably not quite as open as a cello. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a cross between it and and then of course for Violoncello da Spalla, it's nice to be able to hold the bow at the frog, as opposed to choking up, because for us it'll end up hitting our belly.
Right.
On the E string, it's actually important not to have a lot of extra stick
right
on the pinky side. So it's really if you play this instrument a lot, it's good to have the right kind of bow that can be held at the frog, because a Baroque viola bow will held at the frog like this, that the char bow, it will just be very heavy and unwieldy.
Yeah.
So, but this one, just hold it like that, and it's a beautiful bow. And so, a couple of I had this bow for a couple of months, and then I ordered another one from Harriet. I just wanted to have a second bow. When one's being rehaired, and so he made me an exact copy. He didn't have the same wood, so he made it out of snake wood, but it's exactly the same. It really, like, if I was going to do a blind, I don't think I could really tell the difference.
Really?
Yeah, it's the same. I mean, the wood actually, it does have a slightly different feel. I think the snake wood is a little slicker feeling.
Yeah.
This wood, it may be just a little bit more like, I don't know, porous, but it's the same weight. It's within I think it's within a gram. So as far as like the weight of the bow, I can't really tell. It's the same exact shape. So.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Cool Instruments for Hep Cats is brought to you by Donrickert Musical Instruments, designers and makers of bespoke stringed instruments. All music clips were either recorded in the making of the podcast and played by the guest or guests, who have granted permission to use the clips, or otherwise, used with permission or in accordance with fair use regulations. The music for the intro and outro sequences is performed by the group Attire on jaw harp and djembe and is used with written permission.